Welcome, everyone, to the Miss Art World podcast. I'm your host, Catherine, with my co-host, Samuel.
What is up, Art World?
And today we have a special guest with us, Jessica Blinkhorn, who has actually been on recently to talk about her own work. If you want to hear about her work and her performance art, check out episode 91. But today, it's really cool.
That is a great episode. If you haven't listened to it, you should go listen to it because her art is so interesting and you really get to hear her personality. And it's one of my favorite episodes that we've done. So if you haven't listened to that episode, definitely go listen to it. And then come back and listen to this one.
But exciting news for Jessica. She was chosen as the curator for 2022 Art in Odd Places.
It is a visual arts and performance festival that is held in New York City right now. Originally, just kind of give you a little background about Art in Odd Places. Art in Odd Places was started by a man named Ed Woodham. He's the founder. Ed is actually from Atlanta. He grew up here, and it started in 1996 during the Olympics as a way to kind of integrate art into the Olympics. And since then it's traveled to different places. I think it's been to Orlando, it's been overseas a couple of places, but its main home base is New York now. And what it is, it's a weekend festival that highlights visual artists and performance artists, and it runs the length or along 14th Street all the way to the Hudson River. It lasts for the entire weekend. So that's Art in Odd Places.
And that's the weekend of September 23rd through the 25th is when the festival is happening. But you are right now looking for proposals, right?
Yes, so we started our open call around mid-February. I've been trying to post as much as possible. We have our social media person, Amanda, who is posting constantly. We're sharing the posts, but we really want more proposals. I know I'm like, it's the last month of accepting proposals, and I know, being an artist myself, and I'm sure you know this as well, Catherine, we kind of wait to the last minute to do everything.
We love that.
Yeah, because we have to have the drama. We have to have that, like, that rage that fuels the creativity, that drive. So I know we're going to get that last minute rush of proposals, but right now I really want people to go to the Art in Odd Places page and read about what this year's festival is about. You know, one thing that's great about Art in Odd Places, and I just to kind of give you a little background on my history with Art in Odd Places. I was accepted into the 2018 Art in Odd Places called Body. It was curated by Katya, I'm going to mess up her name, Gatraskova. I think that's how you pronounce her last name. Katya, if you watch this, I'm so sorry. I am so sorry. I see your name in my head. It's just not coming out. I blame the muscular dystrophy tongue. Okay. But Katya, super talented curator and artist. They decided to have me in that show that year. And I did 2 different performances that year in that show. I did what was called Graze and Gaze, where I dressed in this really elaborate costume, and I had a dinner party of my own on the streets of New York, near Chelsea. The next performance was me putting my eyebrows on in front of an inaccessible eyebrow salon, just letting people see my body, its imperfections, and kind of telling giving little vignettes of my life and my circumstances, and how I insert myself into social situations where people with disabilities are not really always welcome because there's not access to welcome them. Mm-hmm. So Art in Odd Places, brought me in, and then I also applied to the 2021 Art in Odd Places, which was curated by our now director, a wonderful individual named Farusha von Puttkammer, who's also an artist in New York. And that one was called Normal. It's usually like a single title that follows the festival name. And for that one, I actually sold all of my stuff that I had at my house that the government gives me for my care, so people could see how much it actually cost. So it's like a yard sale, a disability yard sale.
I love
anyway,
that.
Yeah.
That's so interesting.
You could buy a couple of minutes with a caregiver. You could buy my wheelchair is even for sale. And my friend was like, well, what are you going to do if someone wants to buy it? I'm like, I'm going to go find a wagon, and I guess I'll lay in it on the way home, because I will sell this chair straight up. I need the money. But no, so Art Not Places, what it makes it so special is I feel like it really gives artists, especially performance artists, in my opinion, an opportunity for their work to be seen. People that are not familiar with performance art, and myself guilty of this before actually understanding and studying and becoming a performance artist, don't really understand it. So you have to be willing to be a little bit open. For me, performance art kind of gave me a voice when I started losing the ability to draw the way I once could. And so Ed and Katya and all of them, they, were so wonderful the first year. They were wonderful the next year with Ferruccio. And now, they contacted me this year. They're like, well, we kind of want you to curate. And I'm like, oh my God, really? Why? So it's a great opportunity. And, one thing that I am stressing is inclusion this year. And they're great about that. Art Not Places is phenomenal. It's a phenomenal organization. Ed,
Are you just looking for performance art, or just every art piece?
It's visual arts and performance. So It can really be like, for instance, one of the artists that, and I won't release their name because they have not accepted yet. One of the artists that I was interested, as curator, I get to invite some artists. And they basically just like, they're in the show, This individual is a photographer, and their work is fantastic. And it's really, it highlights the LGBTQ plus disabled community. But they're a photographer. And so the idea could be just to set up their pictures in random spots around the city, and we would have point people that maybe watch over those pieces, or we would have them, we would help research, or they would research where they could put their work, construction areas that are just kind of there and raw and urban. So it's kind of open-ended. The main idea for this year, and like I said, Ed and them have always been really wonderful about being inclusive, is to really highlight disability, because I am myself a disabled artist. But this year we're looking for artists from the disabled, aging, LGBTQ plus, BIPOC, and allied communities. Something that I said last time, and that I will always say, is that I feel for there to be true change, genuine change, there has to be a willingness to have a conversation. And we won't be able to have a conversation if we continue to separate ourselves into these groupings where we play mean girls and say, you can't sit with us, There's plenty of room at the table, and there's enough wine to go around for everybody to have a sip, but you got to be willing to share and be patient. And so I really want it to be everybody, but I do want to put a focus on the disabled community, because I feel my community, the disabled and aging community, has been a community that has been just horribly and shamefully overlooked, especially going into pandemic, pre-pandemic, pandemic, and now, even I guess we're still in a pandemic. I really, I'm part of a community that has been screaming into a mic that someone's turned off, and it's time for us to flip that switch. So this year's festival definitely highlights, an importance for that community, because I'm part of that community, but I want it to be wholly inclusive as well. And because the disabled community is wholly inclusive, we are the epitome of intersectionality. We really are. And even if you don't consider yourself part of one of the communities listed, Eventually you will join the disabled community, either through age or through accident. It's inevitable. So, yeah.
What are some of the requirements for the proposals that you were kind of looking for?
The proposals should, surround the words of community, identity, endurance, merit, and perception. We are asking that people basically share their story. It's giving people the opportunity, artists the opportunity to talk about situations in their life that were pivotal, and it could come down to something as simple as a performance that's based on a traumatic episode on a train because you're someone that is a person from the LGBTQ+ community. It's really just giving people the opportunity to hear or to share their stories, and for the world to bear witness to that story and engage. Because I think that we all have a story.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be willing to share it, but other people have to be willing to listen to it. Because I'm a firm believer in we have a lot more alike than we do different. And I feel like it's my job as a performance artist, and I don't know if you feel this the same way, Catherine. For me, with my performance, I always want people to feel as though they're receiving a gift of some sort, whether it be a gift of education or a gift of familiarity, a gift of clarity, a gift of nostalgia, memory, hope. So that's really what this year is about. It's very open-ended. I wanted it to be open-ended because I wanted there to be a lot of artistic liberty in how one conveys their story.
And then are you able to talk about any projects that because have you accepted any yet or no?
No, we are receiving them right now.
Okay.
And the deadline is May 1st.
May 1st, 11:59 p.m. 2022. Yes.
Okay. And
This is
then
the deadline.
And how many projects or performances are you looking for?
I want a lot. I want to be able to pick. I want it to be an amazing, not just me, the whole team want it to be an amazing festival, because it always is an amazing festival. But yeah, we've gotten some, we want more. I would love for there to be just a big pile to go through. I mean, I would like to spend hours reading about people's stories. I mean, I'm one of those people, I'm a people person, but I'm not. I love and dislike, Okay, so I'll just read out the curatorial statement. So obstacles are put in our way, not to stop us, but to call our courage and strength. That is an unknown quote, but I thought it was poignant. Today, public personal merit is based on the number of followers on social media, and relevance changes with the shifting weather. True identity and community are where words are genuinely heard, truths shared, stories told, and perceptions possibly changed. Is it feasible to change others' perceptions? Finding meaning in life is a collective universal truth. The pursuit of meaning can be lost in the static of the passionate necessity to search. One's narrative writes itself. Every insurmountable obstacle, laugh, devastation, tear, scar, heartbreak, familiarity, and inexperience is a chapter. If executed with fearless honesty and mindful intent, change is possible. Will the story of your existence endure the test of time? The project should tell a story that incites change, creates a connection with people, community, and possibly the world, allows others to the opportunity to have a connection. They should draw a crowd, but not too large of a crowd, because we have to maintain, access for the public in the streets. And some things that you can ask yourself when writing the proposal: what are life changes? What life change is repeated in your work? Like, what do you constantly see coming up in your work? What theme is there? And then once again, our 5 words, which are community, identity, endurance, merit, and perception. So that is the proposal, or that is the narrative for the proposals.
And you can find this on Art in Odd Places, their website, and their application is downloadable.
Yeah, you just go to artinoddplaces.org /story. And there is the curatorial, the statement, the narrative, what we're looking for, and access the application. You know, we accept emails if there are questions, specific questions regarding the application. We're really there to assist the artists as much as we can. If they are acceptable, even if they're not, like in the application process, and if they're accepted.
And it's free, right, to apply?
It's free to apply, but I do need to stress that this is a performance festival that gives artists an opportunity to show their work. It is also a grassroots organization. Everything is volunteer. All the work that I am doing, all the work that Ferruccio does as the director, that my curatorial manager, William Schweiger, who lives in Austin, the people that are here, the people that are in New York, all of them, it is all volunteer. So, you know, we cannot provide stipends. It is just basically giving an opportunity to artists to show their work. However, we can provide letters if artists want to apply for grants. So there are several grants that one artist can apply for to get. Like, for instance, when I was accepted the first time, I worked multiple jobs, and that is just to pay for my existence. So my first Art in Odd Places was thankfully because of the New York Foundation of the Arts. They gave me an emergency grant that guaranteed me access. That was some crowdsourcing. I was able to cover myself, 2 caregivers, or 1 friend, 1 assistant, 1 caregiver, a hotel stay for a week. So,
oh wow,
it was. I mean, there are ways that you can access money if your work. I always say, if the work is important enough and the funding's not there, the funding will appear. I have to tell myself that, you know, even if it means I have to go out and share my GoFundMe, or I have to apply for every grant, which I do. You know, it's there. You just have to be patient.
Mm-hmm.
How hard is it to apply for a grant?
It's difficult. It's difficult. I need to be better. I need to start hiring grant writers to proofread and edit. The last grant that I applied for was just to, I applied to be one of the artists that could possibly apply for Creative Capital, because they're doing another Creative Capital this year for their 25 year anniversary. So it's called Wild Futures. And I finished that application. It took an hour, but you have to have all of your information ready to insert. It's really accessible, but it's just, I still have to submit a budget. If they like what I said in my grant, then they'll be like, all right, you can continue the process of receiving or trying to receive this grant. And then you have to submit things like a budget, and you have to submit a timeline and all of that stuff. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. And for somebody that can't really type except for with 1 finger and a crappy talk to text through my phone, it's extremely difficult. So if I ever got like a really big grant, one thing I would definitely buy myself is a computer that allows me to have perfect voice access, because grants take me 3 times longer than they do the majority of people. And I've applied for this year alone, I've applied for the Guggenheim, Harpo, Creative Capital. I would love the opportunity to apply for Disability Future Fellows through the Ford and Millen Foundation, but that's actually a grant that you are nominated for, as is the Wynn Newhouse. And those are the Wynn Newhouse and the Disability Future Fellows are specifically for artists and writers of literature, filmmakers. Crip Camp, the Oscar nominated film from 2020. Jim LeBrock was one of the directors. He he is a future fellow. Artists like Reva Lair, who is a writer and a curator, a professor, beautiful fine artist, an insane draftsman, is a future fellow. Sky Kubaku, who does my wardrobes, who I hired to do my wardrobe, is a future fellow. So I just want to get nominated for that. That would be amazing. If I can get that, I'd be like, I'm a future fellow. Now I can take 2 of my jobs off my plate.
Yeah, grants are a pain in the butt. They take so long.
They are, like I'm sure like it's a lot of work. A lot of people think that being an artist is just this life of freedom and like creativity. And it is. If you're passionate enough, it most definitely is a life of freedom and creativity. But it's also a life of struggle. Anytime I have a student that asks me, if they should be an artist, I'm like, if all you can think of when you wake up in the morning is creating, and all you can see when you look at the world is a series of lines, shapes, colors, textures, movements, patterns. If it's in you to be an artist, if that's there, you'll be an artist. But being an artist also means decisions. It means deciding between blue box or ramen. It means deciding if you're going to pay the cell phone or pay your power bill. It means having an exorbitant amount of money 1 month and then nothing for the next 5 months. If you're willing to sacrifice and struggle to feel that rush of creative freedom and expression and leaving a mark on the visual world and the creative world that could possibly withstand the test of time and end up in history books, then freaking go for it, kid. You'll probably always be poor and your shit will sell for millions of dollars when you're gone. But go for it,
All right. Well, I think that's a great place to stop. And just to recap, if you guys are interested in applying, you can go to their website, Art in Odd Places. The deadline is May 1st. So I know other artists like to wait, but try and get your application in as soon as possible, so that you're not super stressed out at the last minute. It's free. The overall theme or keyword that's next to it is story. And I'm sure you can reach out to Jessica if you have any questions about it, because I know she just wants artists to apply, and it's such a great opportunity to be able to do a performance in Manhattan. I think that's so cool for 3 days. Again, that's September
23rd through the 25th, 2020.
Which is great weather.
Oh yeah, the reason why I picked it was if we have a lot of artists with disabilities. I know as a disabled artist, I can't stand to be too hot or too cold because it actually restricts my movements. So I think that has to be around the perfect time. It's also a little bit of a selfish reason. It would be my sister's 45th birthday.
Okay.
That weekend. So I was like, that would be a perfect weekend, a way to celebrate my sister, but also just to kind of let people know it's artinoddplaces.org. And there is with Art in Odd Places, I can honestly say that when I performed the first time, my ability to continue performing, it tripled. So this is a wonderful opportunity. You never know who's going to see your work. And side story, are you listening to this, Katie Holmes? I was on, this is a good way to end it. My first year at Art in Odd Places, I'm sitting there and I'm in my couture dress that was designed by Nika King, local Atlanta artist. I was basically, my breasts were out. It was the color of a cow pattern with words and stuff. You'd have to look at the images. I'm not going to go into all the detail. And I'm sitting there and we're setting up the dinner table and there's a big mound of garbage behind me, because it's New York. And, this very chic woman with this brown hair and these big glasses comes walking by. And I noticed that they have their camera down low. and they're recording me. And this person is walking toward me, and I look at them, and I draw people for a living. My ability to recognize a face is impeccable. It's crazy impeccable. So I go, excuse me, are you Katie Holmes? And she goes, no, and continues walking by. And I'm like, somewhere Katie Holmes has a picture of my tatas in her phone. It was just it was a funny moment for me. And they're like, you're crazy. That was not, I was like, that was totally Katie Holmes. I know it.
That's funny.
But yeah, it's a great opportunity. And, you know, you never know who's going to see your work. You never know how many more opportunities will open up because of Art in Our Places. But I can definitely speak from experience. It's a great grassroots organization to work with. They're extremely helpful. We're welcoming to everybody. It's all about love and community and success, and it does lead to further opportunities.
And if people are trying to find you, can you share your Instagram?
Okay, it's all right, I'm just going to say it all at once. Willie_Ann_artist. So it's WHEELIE_AN_ARTIST. As in, I'm Willie, an artist.
Samuel, do you have any plugs?
I have no plugs. Not today.
I have a plug for you. Samuel he's just a podcasting fiend and has rebooted his own podcast, Samuel Cooksey Project. It drops every Monday. So if you are every Tuesday?
Drops every Monday-ish.
It's a loose deadline.
Deadline.
But if you want more of Samuel Cooksey, check out his podcast. Because it's funny.
And we literally talk about nothing. So it's
you know, I would love to be on your podcast, Samuel, because you know, I love to just talk about nothing and everything.
Let's do it then. I will definitely have you on. You'll be surrounded by another Cooksey because I do it with my little brother. So
oh gosh, how old is y'all's little brother?
28, 29.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
or is he 30?
No, he's not 30 yet.
He's 29.
29.
He's 30 this year because I'm turning 35.
It's cool. Are you the middle, Catherine?
So there's 4 of us. I'm the first girl, second child.
Oh, okay.
So Samuel, me, Elijah, and then we have one more, Emily. That's one baby. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of us.
I'm able to hang with the boys because I grew up with tall. I'm a huge tomboy. I always have been. So yeah, I can handle it. All right. Well, my roommate just got back, so I'm going to let you guys go. Thank you for having me once again. It's artandoddplaces.org. The theme or the name this year, or title this year is Story. Sorry, I'll find my words. And yeah, send in your proposals. Everybody is welcome, and we look forward to hearing them or reading them.
Thank you, Jessica.
Bye, Jessica.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.